Good morning, everybody. Lee Brower here, and welcome to this week's edition of Meaningful Monday. Yes, I'm glad to be here, and yes, I'm grateful to be here. You know, we've all had those moments. In fact, over and over again. And after all, isn't it good parenting? Wasn't that what we're supposed to do? Didn't our parents do the same thing with us or say the same thing to us? Let's put it into context. Imagine for a second that someone's come up and done something really nice for one of your children. And you're getting ready to move on, but there is one element needed to complete this scene. So you gaze intently at your child and you stay put, telepathically willing your child to, on their very own, say thank you, hoping that you don't have to remind them. Now, it seems we all experience moments when our child or children owes someone thanks, but needs to be prompted. Typically, we prompt with an expectant look, paired with that trusty, "What do you say?" And whether it's that one little line uttering for your kids or you were the receiver of a child's resulting thank you, the routine felt like, well, I guess it merely felt routine. It wasn't just that most kids, including, I'm sure, mine and yours, and my grandkids, sounded insincere in their thanks. The exchange felt somehow misguided, it felt mechanical, and it felt lacking. To that end, could it be we're coaching our kids to say thank you as merely a habit, akin to brushing teeth or clearing their dishes from the table, or a behavior to be practiced at certain times? But saying thank you, shouldn't it involve more? Before our kids express appreciation, they should experience appreciation. The thank you, the thank yous will always sound empty if they're not weighted with gratitude. Think about it. The thank yous will always sound empty if they're not weighted with gratitude. So, perhaps myself and other parents have been applying the wrong sort of effort. We were nudging our children to say words of thanks, but we weren't nurturing feelings of thankfulness. It's like sprinkling just the leaves of a plant when what's needed is to water the roots. So what if we focused on illuminating our children about what has just transpired? What if we not only expressed thank you, but also acknowledged what we appreciated? For example, we could say, Mom spent time fixing your toy instead of relaxing. Isn't that very kind of her? Or maybe the librarian left the work at her desk to help you find that book. Wasn't that really nice of her? How does that make you feel? Instead of prompting words to be spoken, you're aiming to trigger something deeper and more meaningful, an awareness, if you will. Now, to adults, unfortunately, these explanations amount to stating the obvious, but may not be the obvious to how we ourselves behave. But they are, for sure, they're revelations to kids who take everything for granted, naturally, because everything is granted to them. So here's the key. Allowing our children a moment to process what they've just experienced. And why shouldn't we do the same for ourselves? Allowing our children a moment to process what they've just experienced, to register that they're the recipients of kindness. You could then follow it with a question. You should then follow it with a question. Rather than, what do you say? Wouldn't you be better off to say, wasn't that nice that that person shared with you? Or are you glad I drove you to the mall? How does that make you feel? See, the intention is to guide them from recognizing kindness to valuing kindness. We can begin by teaching our kids and practicing it ourselves. What's the formula? Awareness times appreciation times acknowledgement equals true gratitude. We can begin by teaching our kids and by practicing it ourselves. Awareness times appreciation times acknowledgement equals true gratitude. Live life deliberately. Have a great week. I look forward to seeing you next week for another episode of Meaningful Monday.